Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Sunday, August the 30th. We do have another 3-game slate today. We do have the start of the second round today. Boston and Toronto going to be starting second round playoffs in the Eastern Conference. And then we have Game 6 of first round series between the Clippers and the Mavs, and then Game 6 of the Jazz and Nuggets series. So we got, a game one, or we got two round one series, or two round one games going today, and then the start of round two. I was surprised that they started round two this early. I thought they would wait till all the round one series were done before they would start the second round. But I guess they're just going to go ahead and start the second round with Boston and Toronto. Both of those teams, sweep their first round opponents. They've had a lot of rest, so, I guess that maybe could be a good thing for those guys. Some of them are coming in questionable, though, like Kyle Lowry coming in as questionable, although I believe he did get upgraded to probable, so he is expected to play today. I'm not worried about that. We'll definitely talk about the injuries, though. You see, there's a couple guys questionable. Luka, he's listed as questionable as well, but I assume he plays today. We do know that Porzingis, I believe, is out for the season, so he's not going to return at all. Even if the Mavs win this series, come back and win this series, there's going to be no Porzingis. So obviously the Mavs are going to be a team, we have to hit on today without Porzingis. I liked them a lot last slate, and it really didn't work out. They got blown out by the Clippers, lost that game by like 40 points. But I think these Mavs guys look really appealing again. So I'll be sure to break down that as we go through each position. We'll talk about all the guys I like, the guys that stand out to me, looking at this slate on Saturday night, giving you guys some of my early thoughts, what I see the night before. But before we do get started, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. Likes are always appreciated, guys. Hit the subscribe button as well. A very large majority of the people that watch my videos, and this may be you included, are not subscribed to the channel. I believe it's like 55 or 60% of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed. It's free. Please hit the subscribe button. It definitely helps me out. We are getting close to 20,000 subscribers, which is a huge milestone for me. I would definitely appreciate it if you guys would help me get to that milestone. I believe we're about 600 subscribers away. Hopefully we'll hit it maybe by the end of September. We might honestly hit it before football starts. We'll just have to wait and see. But hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Click the notification bell as well, so that way you do get notified every time I upload. And if you really enjoy my YouTube videos, if you watch these videos daily and they really help you, and you want to get more content from me, I do have stuff available on Patreon that is linked down below in the description. You can check out the Patreon, see all that I have to offer. We are getting towards the end of the month, so I would recommend, if you're going to sign up for Patreon, you might want to wait till the 1st, because the way Patreon works, they do charge you when you sign up, and then they charge you at the 1st of every month. So I would maybe suggest, waiting till the 1st to sign up, but you can still check it out and see all that I have to offer. That is linked down below in the description. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at this 3-game slate. We will start off at the top of the point guard position. We got Luka as our most expensive point guard, and he's the most expensive player overall on the slate at $11,200. So I liked Luka a lot last slate, and it didn't work out. The Clippers absolutely beat the Mavs, or beat the doors off the Mavs. They lost that game by, I believe, 43 points, just doing the math in my head real quick. Luka only played 31 minutes because of the blowout, just 38 Draftkings points. Maybe this game blows out again. There's obviously some concern with that. But without Porzingis, Luka gets a ton of usage, sees his usage increase with Porzingis off the floor. I should have pulled this up already. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up real quick just so you guys can see. We'll take a look at Luka's numbers without Porzingis. I believe his usage rate gets close to 40%. He averages like 1.7 fantasy points per minute on the season. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, so that is why, I want to pull them up real quickly. We could also take some other guys off, like Dwight Powell's not going to play. There's some other guys that are still out for the Mavs, but mainly Porzingis, is the guy we want to look at here, because he's going to be, the highest usage player, or the second highest usage player on this team, going to be off the floor. So during the regular season, with Porzingis off the floor, Luka played 891 minutes, had a 38.6% usage rate, averaged 1.7 fantasy points per minute, a 44.8% assist percentage, and a 16.1% total rebound percentage. I mean, those are just elite numbers. Luka, triple-double upside here. He's already triple-doubled twice in this series. Had a triple-double in Game 2 with 13, 10, and 10. And then in Game 4, excuse me. So that was Game 3, he had a triple-double with 13, 10, and 10. In Game 4, he had a triple-double as well. That was the insane game where he hit the game winner, 43, 17, and 13. I mean, we know that Luka has slate-breaking upside. He's still the stud that I want to pay up for today. I know that he was disappointing last game, and the Mavs, just as a whole, were disappointing because they got blown out. But I'm going to be going back to them today. Without Porzingis, there's just so much usage to go around, so much opportunity, more minutes as well. If this game can stay close, I think there's a chance we see Luka play about 40 minutes, maybe more. He's listed as questionable, but I'm not worried about that. I am assuming that Luka plays today. If by some chance he gets ruled out, then obviously that's going to change a lot. This is the second game on the slate, so we'll be able to late swap, make some pivots if Luka gets, ruled out. But for now, I'm assuming he plays. He's my favorite stud on the slate, a guy that I want to try and pay up for. He's $55 on Yahoo. He's also expensive there, but I definitely want to try and get in Luka over on Yahoo as well. I just think there's too much upside to ignore. There isn't much value on the slate. I'll definitely admit that. The value isn't great, but I want to try and find a way to fit Luka in if I can. Maybe Luka's the only stud I get in my lineups. This doesn't feel like a slate where you can play two studs. You're probably going to have to go with one and then a couple values and then mainly, just mid-range to fill out the rest of your lineup. So between like the 10K studs and the 9K studs, let's just say Tatum and above, Jamal Murray and above. I think Luka's my favorite guy. I prefer him over like Kawhi, Mitchell, Jokic. Really like Luka today. I'm going to be back on him again. I just think there's too much upside here. Then you have like Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray. So Mitchell at $9,700. I don't think I can pay that price tag for him. If I'm going to pay that much, I'd rather get up to Luka or even play Kawhi for $10,100. Jamal Murray at $8,600. His price is also coming up. He's coming off two huge games, 82 and 68 DraftKings points. I think with this price near 9K, I'm probably going to hop off of Jamal Murray. Not saying he's going to have a bad game, but it's going to be hard for him to pay off this price tag with a normal, his projection, a guy that normally averages about 1.1, 1.2 fantasy points per minute on the season. Even if he plays 40 minutes, he still only projects for like 45, maybe 50 DK points, which really isn't enough at 8,600. I'm looking for about 55, close to 60 at this price tag for him to be like a really good play that you have to have. I don't think I need to go to Jamal Murray at his rising price. If I was going to play him, it would probably be on Yahoo where he's $34. You could argue that price is still a bit too cheap. He's $2 more than Kyle Lowry. I think if I can find the $2, I would probably rather play Jamal Murray. But we're going to talk about Kemba Walker in a second. I really like Kemba Walker at his price, and he's been playing incredibly well. So, honestly, don't feel like Murray or Mitchell are going to be guys I really get to. Then you got Lowry and Van Vliet. I have no problems with either one of these guys. I think if I had to play one, I would probably rather go with Fred Van Vliet. He was just so good in the first series against Brooklyn. Had like 3 or 4, or I think 3 really good games, maybe 1 disappointing game. Yeah, he had 2 or 3 really good games, 60, 49, 20 DraftKings points. Only played 19 minutes in their, game 4 that they won, but that was due to blowout. They just didn't need Van Vliet. They were winning that game by like 30 points at halftime. This is a series where we should expect close games pretty much every time out. I believe the spread is pretty tight already for this game. Yeah, it's a 2.5 point spread. Don't have to worry about blowout here. I think we get 40, 42 minutes from Fred Van Vliet. This should be a great series. I think this series can definitely go 7 games. I think both of these teams are pretty even, so I do like Van Vliet a good amount. I think I do slightly prefer him over Lowry, but both those guys are in play for me. Kemba Walker, though, I think he's the guy that I like most. He's $7,200 on DraftKings, coming in a little bit cheaper than the Raptors guards, coming in cheaper than them on Yahoo as well, $29 over there. So Kemba Walker was really disappointing towards the end of the regular season, and even during the seeding games, he wasn't good at all. But the last 2 games, he's looked like his old self, getting back to playing his normal minutes, 35 and 36 minutes last 2 games, 47 and 50 DraftKings points, just been much more productive, been scoring, been getting to the basket, taking a ton of shots. Without Gordon Hayward, that is a little bit of a boost for Kemba Walker. We know where the production is going to come from in the Celtics offense. It's going to come from Kemba, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Those are going to be the 3 guys you expect to do most of the heavy lifting for this team. Those are going to be the 3 guys you expect to, get all the fantasy points, I should say. I really like Kemba at his DraftKings price. I think at $7,200, there's easy potential for him to get 6, 7x value, get 45, 50 DraftKings points. I mean, now that he's getting back up to 36, 38 minutes, which is what I expect he plays today, it's going to be pretty hard for him to fail at this salary, given he averages like 1.3 fantasy points per minute on the season. I know he hasn't been producing at that level, so far, but he's looked like his old self the last 2 games. Seems like that injury that he had was behind him now. He looks fully healthy, playing incredibly well. This is a series, like I said, you expect every game to be close. Expect Kemba to play his full minutes. We shouldn't have to worry about blowout here. I love Kemba Walker today. I think he looks really good in the mid-range. I do prefer him over some of the other 7K guys. I like Lowry and I like Van Vliet. Jaylen Brown I think is appealing as well. But if I have to just choose one of those guys, Kemba's my favorite at 7,200. Then you got Mike Conley for 6,600. I have no problems with Mike Conley. He's been playing really well since coming back from quarantine. He had to leave the bubble for the birth of his son, I believe. He missed, I think, 2 or 3 games because of that. I definitely know that he missed, the first, I believe, 2 games of the series. But he's come back and played in the last 3 with 25, 32, and 35 minutes played, 38, 39, 33 Draftkings points. Been about as consistent as it gets. You expect Conley to play about 35, 36 minutes if this game stays close. He's a little bit cheaper than Kemba, so I don't mind him, just not going to be a core play for me. When he was really cheap, like he was 5,900, I believe, in the first game that he came back. That was when I was really high on Conley. Now that his price is up to 6,600, it's a little bit less interesting. Not a guy I feel like I have to have at his price. Same with Lou Will. Lou Will's just not a guy I feel like I have to have at 6,400. Sure, Lou Will can come off the bench and score 40 Draftkings points easily. I just would rather get up to, Kemba, some of the other guys we've talked about. We know these are guys that are going to play close to 40 minutes, whereas Lou Will, even in a close game, you're probably only getting like 30 to 32 minutes from him. So yeah, that's probably it for that mid-range. Now talking about value plays here, I do like Trey Burke as a value for 4,800. He's also listed as questionable for this Mavs team, but I'm just going to assume that he plays today. So without Porzingis the last 2 games, Trey Burke has started both games, played 37 and 29 minutes, 37 and 22 Draftkings points. I'm assuming that he starts again with Porzingis out. I like Trey Burke a lot as a value. 4,800 on DK is still a pretty cheap price tag. Looking at Yahoo, he's also coming in pretty cheap over there as well, $14. Definitely like Trey Burke on Yahoo as well. So this is a guy that, when he gets minutes, can be productive for DFS. He can score. He can get you some assists as well. Scoring is mainly where he gives you his upside. And we saw that in Game 4. 37 minutes, 25 real life points, 37 Draftkings points. He can knock down shots. He's aggressive when he starts making shots. He's just going to continue to shoot. They'll look to give him the ball. I definitely like Trey Burke here at 4,800. This is a guy that I played a lot when he was on the Knicks, and he definitely had some big games. There were some times where he would be popular, he would be chalk, and he would wind up disappointing. But I still think this is a guy that has upside when he gets minutes. And now that Porzingis is out again, it feels like they want to give Trey Burke big minutes. He's going to start, so I like him a lot as a value for 4,800. I think he does look like one of the better values at the point guard position. You do have some other guys here, though. Like Monte Morris started the last 2 games. He played 36 minutes in the first game that he started, but then the last game he started, just 18 minutes. I have no idea what his minutes look like today. If I had to guess, I would say he gets big minutes, but who knows here. Monte Morris is not going to be productive, though, playing alongside Jokic and Murray. So even playing big minutes, I don't think he's a guy I have to play at 4,100. The minutes make him a viable option, but honestly, if I can get up to Trey Burke, I'd rather go there. Reggie Jackson and Shamet, I think, are both interesting. Patrick Beverley, I believe he's doubtful. He's not expected to play, or he got upgraded to questionable. We'll have to wait and see there. If Beverley sits, I think Jackson and Shamet both benefit. Shamet got about 22 minutes last game. So did Reggie Jackson. I believe they both finished with like 23 Draftkings points. They're both pretty cheap, 38, 3,700. If I had to pick one, I think I would rather play Reggie Jackson between the two. But as punt plays, cheap values, I don't mind those 2 guys. I think PJ Dozier, got good run last game. Or no, he only played 20 minutes. I wonder who got the minutes over Monte Morris. If Monte Morris only played 18 minutes, I think they played MPJ a good amount. I don't know who else got minutes for Denver last game. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. So, yeah, MPJ played 34 last game, so they gave him a lot of run off the bench. I believe maybe Torrey Craig got minutes. No, he only played 19, so I don't really know who got the minutes. Gary Harris didn't play last game. He was still out. Jeremy Grant started, but he did play big minutes. I know Millsap started and really sucked because I had a good amount of him. It was tilting. Only 19 minutes from him. So I guess they just gave a lot of minutes to Michael Porter coming off the bench. So yeah, I guess that makes that risky. You don't know what you're going to get from Morris. Honestly, probably won't be going there today. I think there's just other guys I'd rather play. So let's move on to shooting guard now. At this position, I like Van Vliet for 7,700. Jaylen Brown I don't mind as well for 7,100. I expect him to be more productive with Gordon Hayward out. But honestly, if I can get to Kemba Walker, I think I'd rather play Kemba Walker over Jaylen Brown. Tim Hardaway for 6K, I don't mind. You know, he should get a little bit of a boost without Kristaps Porzingis. If you look at the season-long numbers, without Porzingis on the floor, 23.1% usage rate, pretty solid. Close to 0.9 fantasy points per minute. You know, going to play probably 36, 38 minutes if the game stays close. You know, if I was going to play Tim Hardaway, I think he looks most appealing on Yahoo. Over there, he's coming in at $18 at small forward. You know, he's cheaper than Norman Powell, cheaper than OG. You know, I definitely like Tim Hardaway at his Yahoo price. DK, he's fine as well. I think I just, you know, would rather play him on Yahoo. Joe Ingles is fine, but, you know, not a guy I feel like I have to have. You know, now that Mike Conley's back, that is a bit of a hit for Joe Ingles. Still should get big minutes, you know, 34 to 35 minutes. He's 5,400. He's a fine play. I probably would rather go to him like over Marcus Smart. You know, Smart's just rarely a guy that I play whenever Kemba, Tatum, you know, Jaylen Brown. When all these guys are healthy, I just don't play Marcus Smart. I think when Marcus Smart becomes viable is when like Kemba sits or when Jaylen Brown sits. Mainly when Kemba sits and you get Marcus Smart starting at point guard. That's when he becomes the most appealing. He's going to be like the fourth option on this team, you know, behind those three guys that I mentioned. So don't really want to go to Smart. Clarkson for 5,300. I haven't really been playing Clarkson with Conley back. You know, I don't think I'm going to be going to him today. Unless the price, if the price were to come down, he would be more appealing. But at 5,300, I just don't feel like I have to play him at that price. Then you got a guy like Seth Curry. You know, Seth Curry was getting big minutes coming off the bench. Last game, though, he only played 23 minutes, was just really bad, only 5.5 DK points. You know, I think he lost some minutes due to blowout. I'm not sure if he played in the blowout or not. I don't believe he did. I don't mind Curry as a value. You know, if you're going to play him, I think he looks pretty good on Yahoo. He's minimum salary over there. He's shooting guard, so I don't mind him there. Still don't think he's like a core value for me, but definitely would be in my player pool if I was playing multiple lineups. Gary Harris will be someone to monitor, so hasn't played yet in this series. We don't know if he's going to play today. If he does wind up playing and isn't limited too hard, I think he could be a viable cheap option for 4,200. He hasn't played in an NBA game, though, since March, so I would say, you know, if he plays today, there's a very good chance, you know, you get a minutes limit on him. We'll just have to wait and see there. You know, this is the late-night game, so I don't know if we're going to get this news before lock. We probably won't, so you might have to make some late swap adjustments. You know, maybe if you plug in Gary Harris into your lineup and he winds up playing, you could obviously leave him in. But let's say Gary Harris, you put him in your lineup and he plays, but he only gets like 15, 20 minutes. They come out and say they're going to limit his minutes, then you could obviously like swap to Monte Morris. If you put Harris in your guard spot or in your util spot, then you could swap to Monte Morris. So honestly, I don't mind playing Gary Harris. You know, just be ready to make swaps depending on if he's going to be limited or if he winds up out again. If he's not limited, though, if we can get like 28, 30 minutes from Gary Harris, you know, for 4,200, he could be viable on a slate that doesn't have too much value. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the small forward position. So up top here, we do have some appealing options. You got Kawhi for 10-1, Jason Tatum for 9-2. I think choosing between these two guys, if I can get up to Kawhi, you know, I think I do prefer Kawhi. He's just been so good in the playoffs, been about as consistent as it gets. At least 50 Draftkings points in all 5 games so far in this series. I mean, Kawhi's going to play close to 40 minutes if the game's close. You know, they need to win this game. You don't want to go get 7 games here. You know, you don't want to let Dallas have some momentum heading into a Game 7. They're going to want to win this game. They're going to play Kawhi big minutes as long as the game stays close. And like I said, he's just been as good as it gets. You know, 50 DraftKings points in every game. Been so consistent. You know, Kawhi isn't a guy I feel like I have to pay up for because rarely does Kawhi just go out there and break the slate. But the consistency is huge at his price. You know, he still has upside. We saw him go for 64 DK points in Game 3. I don't mind Kawhi here. You know, I still don't think he's going to be like a core stud for me. If I'm paying up for one guy, it's going to be Luka. But I think given the savings or given the salary difference between the two, I don't think there's enough savings for me to want to play Tatum over Kawhi. So I think if I can get up to Kawhi, I'd rather go to him. Obviously, Tatum's in play though. You know, without Gordon Hayward, gets a little bit of a boost. You could argue that maybe Jason Tatum has more upside than Kawhi. We've seen Tatum go for 60 plus multiple times. You know, 57 in Game 1, 60 last game in Game 4. I mean, both these guys are very appealing options. I think both these guys are great pay-up options. I just can't play them all. You know, if I'm only playing one lineup today, it's very unlikely I'm going to be able to pay up for both Kawhi and Luka or Kawhi or, you know, Luka and Tatum, especially if I'm trying to get Kemba in there. So that's why these guys are going to be more like secondary stud plays for me rather than like core studs. PG had a good game last game, but for 8,300, you know, I doubt I really go there. I would rather pay it for Tatum or Kawhi. Jaylen Brown, I talked about him. I think he's appealing in the mid-range. Tim Hardaway as well. Marcus Morris is fine. I don't mind him for 5,700, but again, you know, he's someone I don't feel like I have to play now that his price tag is coming up. Michael Porter Jr. did get big minutes off the bench last game, was somewhat productive with 27 DK points. Who knows what his minutes look like today? You know, if he comes off the bench and he's just not playing well, Malone will only give him like 25 minutes, but if he comes off the bench, starts knocking down some threes, and is just playing really good offensively, you know, he's going to struggle defensively. They're going to pick on him on the defensive end, but if he can come out and score, which is what he does best, you know, maybe he gets over 30 minutes again. The price tag's come down too at 5,500. So I don't mind Michael Porter in the mid-range of small forward. You know, I think he's definitely appealing now. I haven't played him much recently, but it was good to see that Malone gave him over 30 minutes last game. Maybe that happens again. The price tag came down. I think he is appealing today. But for other small forward values, you know, like Royce O'Neal, going to play big minutes. Not a great point per minute player, but he's cheap. Same with Jeremy Grant. Pretty much like Jeremy Grant, OG, O'Neal. None of these guys are great point per minute players, you know, especially like Jeremy Grant. Playing in the starting lineup alongside Jokic and Murray is not great for his fantasy production. But we saw Jeremy Grant play 40 minutes last game. You know, for 4,800, getting a guy going to play close to 40 minutes, I think that makes him a viable option. Royce O'Neal is probably going to play mid-30s. OG will probably play mid-30s. So these guys are playable. Shamet as well. You know, if Beverly sits and Shamet continues to start, I think he's viable for 3,700. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to power forward now. We'll talk about this position. So at power forward, a lot of guys here I've already talked about. You know, you do have Siakam for 8,100. Siakam, you know, he looked pretty bad at the beginning of the series, but has been much better the last two games, or last series, I should say, against Brooklyn. Was pretty disappointing during the seeding games and during the first two games of the Brooklyn series. But the last two, in Games 3 and Game 4, looked really good with 45 and 47 Draftkings points. Played 33 minutes in both games. You know, even in blowouts, Siakam gets pretty solid minutes. We obviously shouldn't expect a blowout here, though. This game should stay close. Every game in this series should be close. I do have interest in Siakam. The price tag came up a little bit, but there's just not much to pay up for at power forward, like especially Yahoo. If you look at power forward on Yahoo, I think you have Maxi Klieber here, who looks like a great play for $11. Like, do you really want to pay $20 for Marcus Morris? Probably not. You know, if you're not paying down for Klieber, I think if you can try and get up to Siakam at 33, I do think he looks appealing on Yahoo. Given the positional flexibility on Draftkings, probably would rather get up to Tatum if possible. You know, I think Tatum gives you more upside than Siakam, but it's good to see Siakam playing well. I do like him for 8,100. Still don't think he's going to be a core play for me. More of a secondary option, you know, but a guy that will definitely be in my player pool for sure. But Maxi Klieber is the guy that I want to talk about in the mid-range. So his price tag's coming up on DraftKings. He's up to 5,200, but I still think he's in play on DK at 5,200. Really think he looks like, you know, looks like the best play on Yahoo. $11 almost minimum salary over there. Looks like a top value today. We already know that Porzingis is out, which should solidify Maxi for big minutes. You know, he only played 28 minutes last game, but that was mainly due to blowout. In Game 4, which was a close game, and Porzingis was out, we got 37 minutes from Maxi Klieber, 25 DraftKings points. You know, he's going to start at center here. They don't start Boban. They haven't been starting Boban in this series. It looks like Kleber is going to continue to start at center, and then they're going to shift, you know, DFS down to the 4, let Tim Hardaway Jr. play the 3, and then Seth Curry will start at shooting guard, or not Seth Curry, Trey Burke will start at shooting guard alongside Luka. So yeah, I do like Kleber here. I think he's appealing. You know, without Porzingis, he's not a great point per minute player. Still averages about 0.86 fantasy points per minute on the season. Gonna play probably 35, 36 minutes. Still projects pretty well even for a $5,200 salary. You know, if he was $4,200 again, I think he would be like one of the top value plays. I think with his price coming up $1,000, that might keep his ownership in check. So I still like him on DraftKings even with the price coming up. Yahoo though at $11, he looks like a top value play over there. So I really like Kleber as a value. You know, these Denver guys I think you can go to. Jeremy Grant, Paul Millsap. If I had to choose one, I think I would rather play Jeremy Grant. I just can't get Paul Millsap right. I liked him a lot last slate, and he was absolutely terrible. I'm sure today I'll play Jeremy Grant over Millsap, and then Millsap will just go out there and crush. Just how it goes when I choose these two guys. If I have to play one, I'm going to prefer Jeremy Grant. I just think Grant's minutes are so much more secure than Paul Millsap. Then you got OG, Royce, we talked about you could play. But let's go ahead and move on to center now. We'll run through center real quick before we end the video. So at the top here, you got Jokic for 9,500. I mean, really no problems with Jokic. If you want to play him, I don't mind that. I think I'd rather get up to Kawhi and Tatum, though. I think I do prefer those guys over Jokic. Obviously, I like Luka as well. So Jokic is probably going to be like my fourth favorite stud behind Luka, behind Kawhi, and behind Tatum. Still, Jokic should be productive here, though. I mean, he's going to play close to 40 minutes if it's a close game. Played 43 minutes last game, 49 Draftkings points. I mean, we haven't gotten that big game from Jokic yet. His best game in the series was game 1, which went to overtime. And he put up 53 DK points in 42 minutes. I think I'd rather get to Tatum and Kawhi over Jokic. So, honestly, I don't want to pay up at this position either because we do have some value that I like at the center position. If you want to play Jokic, again, no problem with it. Just I don't think he's going to be a core play for me today. Rudy Gobert, Ibaka, 2 guys you got in the mid-range. Gobert is someone I really never play, even in short slates. I just never feel like I have to get to Gobert. Like, rarely does Rudy Gobert just go out there and break the slate. Normally, this is a guy that's giving you like 35, 40 DK points, which just really isn't good enough at 7,800. I need 50 plus from Gobert at that price. Sure, he can go out there and get 50 plus, but rarely does it happen. I'd rather go, up to, if I'm going to pay up at center, I'm just going to try and get up to Jokic if possible, or just go to some of these cheap plays that we'll talk about. Ibaka's someone I do have interest in. His price is coming up, but he's just been so good. That was a great matchup last series against Brooklyn. This isn't nearly as good of a spot against the Celtics, but Ibaka seems like he is the guy that's going to get the center minutes. Should play about mid-20s in minutes, while Marc Gasol will probably play about 21, 22 minutes. Even though Gasol starts, Ibaka seems like the guy they want to give the minutes to. So I do have interest in Ibaka in the mid-range. But the guy that I really like at center is Montrezl Harrell. So Montrezl Harrell finally had a good game last game. 4,400 on DK. He's still cheap. $17 on Yahoo. He's still cheap there as well. So Harrell played 23 minutes last game in a blowout. Was very productive with 37 Draftkings points. I don't know what kind of game we get from Harrell today. Maybe he plays 25 minutes. Maybe he plays 30 minutes. Maybe he plays 15 minutes. I have no idea here. It was great to see him be productive, though, in the last game and get solid minutes. If I had to guess, I would say Harrell probably plays about 25 to 26 minutes off the bench here. Maybe because he did play well last game, Doc Rivers will give him a few more minutes. I know Rivers has been talking about Harrell and saying that, he's really struggled so far. He hasn't really deserved the minutes because he hasn't played well. Maybe with him playing well in the last game, they'll give him minutes here. He's still incredibly cheap on DraftKings. He's still 4,400. He's cheap on Yahoo as well. There isn't much value today. Maybe this is point chasing, but I really like Montrezl Harrell as a value option here. We know this is a guy that can be productive when he gets minutes, can get you a double-double in 25 minutes. The production's not going to be as good playing alongside Kawhi and playing alongside PG, but he's still cheap. We're not paying the near 6K price tag that we normally pay for Montrezl Harrell. We're getting him at 4,400. Like I said, I haven't played him at all in this series. I'm going to be hopping on him today, so I'm sure he's going to suck, but I definitely like Montrezl Harrell as a value, especially with this slate lacking value options. He does look like a pretty good play, under 5K on DraftKings. Zubac you could go to as well. He's probably going to play about mid-20s in minutes. I think I'd rather go to Harrell, though. I think Harrell is a more productive player overall. Zubac still good for 25 minutes. Should get you probably 24, 25 DK points, which is solid at his price. But, Harrell's one of those guys that can go out there and legit drop 40 DK points in 25 minutes. If he's playing really well, they'll feed him the ball down low. He's a guy that can grab rebounds. He will be aggressive when he's scoring well. So definitely like Montrezl Harrell as a value. But that's probably it for center value plays. Even with Porzingis out, I don't really want to play Boban. He's only going to get about 16 minutes at the most, 16, 18 minutes. Ties for 4,300. Don't really want to go there. Would rather play Harrell. Gasol, not too much interest either. Only getting about 20, 22 minutes. Even though he's starting, the minutes just aren't there for Gasol. It seems like they want to play Ibaka over him. So that's it for center for me, guys. I think we broke it all down. I think we broke everything down for this 3-game slate. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I really do appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button down below. Hit the subscribe button as well before we get out of here. Check out my Patreon exclusive content. That is linked down below in the description. If you want to see more content that I have to offer, you can check out the Patreon link down below. But yeah, guys, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one. Good luck, guys. Peace.